So Walter, this tree looks like it has a story to it. What's the story here?
Well, the story of this tree, the real story, what happened to look like that and now be in a pot, I will tell you. And the other story is the one that the viewer should see. Okay, let's start with the viewer to see, because that's really where the starting point. After that we speak, and what do you have to do? So I want that the viewer stands in front of this tree, looks at it and says, oh, for some reason I really like this tree. Everything is wrong there. Where is the first branch? I don't know. Where is the triangle? Where is the empty spaces where the bird can fly through? Why does this not look like these imported Japanese maples, which we have see wonderful pieces we see by the dozens, and they're the prize winners in show, and they are very expensive and they are beautiful, and this has no clue about that, but this still for some reason intrigues me. I kind of like this tree. Now that's what I want the viewer to say. So what do you start out with? You start with a tree that is not imported from Japan, nor from North Korea, nor from China, nor anywhere. A tree that somehow grew in a garden and someone hacked back. This was a very, very high tree, way more than 10 feet, 20 feet maybe, and then hacked off a long time ago, 30, 40 years, and then some new sort of broom form came up, and that was hacked off again, and then some new broom came, and then somebody found, oh, this is pretty cool bonsai material, but nobody will buy it, or maybe it's for decoration in the garden, okay? So they put it out of the ground, and it still has this very, very big roots, so they said, oh, this is not so good for bonsai, but this will be a garden tree. And I saw it and I said, I want this. I want the viewer to say, I somehow like this tree, but it's so different. Why is that? Because I have quite a few real good looking Japanese maples, which actually were important from Japan or from North Korea. And they, in a way, look the same because they were fabricated along the same sort of line for many reasons. And this never knew that, okay? So this has no clue about that, but it certainly has a clue how about a maple, a very, very old maple tree that grows like that, like a big round tree, not quite round, that has thinner branches, where in bonsai you should have thicker ones, where the crown splits, all of a sudden you have 2 crowns in there, 3 crowns, no, 4 crowns even. Oh, how dare you! But he doesn't know that, okay? Or probably that's a she. I think that's a she. Yeah, the maples are usually she. And then, of course, you put it so that then the body looks very good, and you have to live with the fact that these are too thick. Maybe I can do something in order to have new growth, little roots here. Oh, I will probably do it, and the truth is, it's possible. It will take 20 years for them to look somehow good. Okay, I'm 81. That I will be 101 when they look good. No, I will not do it. Okay, I just accept it as it is, and I plant it in this very nice container by Walter Venne, who made this like the biggest one he ever made, and he said never again. Okay, but here it is, and I dare to take it a very good red, but not a bright red. This is an old lady. They don't wear bright red. They were sort of this red for old ladies, okay? So that's it. The tree will look pretty cool when the foliage is off. Oh, it looks the best just before the foliage off, because we are very lucky in this area to have very, very good fall colors. So it's beginning of September. In 6 weeks you come back. In 6 weeks this will be bright orange. First it will start to be yellow, then orange, then red, and then starting to get brown, and then all of a sudden all the foliage gets off, and then you see the structure. Now the structure looks cool, like a real tree, but that's not by itself. It should look like what you found this tree planted in there. Oh, how lucky you are. No, that's not the case. You have to work on it. Maybe you can see it with that camera. There's at least 50 guy wires in that tree, very thin guy wires, because every branch that was in a position where I didn't like it Usually I pulled it down. Some I pulled up. So I'm doing with a lot of guy wires the structuring in there. I could also do it with normal wiring, but that's not so easy. I think guy wires work better at this stage. And then you pull them down and then slightly overdo it, because a year later I will take the guy wire off and then it will snap back. So this is another thing which you have to know walking through my garden. You think, well, Walter overdoes it sometimes. Yes, I overdo it on purpose. There's a good reason for that. Okay, and then maybe one day there will be nice roots, and the crown will then have to lighten out. Maybe there's too many branches in there. So when are you deciding not with foliage? You have to make a sort of a decision. Either you want the classical winter silhouette, meaning the tree looks best just bare in February or so, then you work according to that. But as a result, you have a tree that is way too dense in summer, but nobody cares because it's just standing in a corner. Or you have a summer tree where you want the tree look good in summer, but the minute the foliage is off, it looks a bit awkward. Or something in the middle, and I do something in the middle. I like to look at my trees all the time, and this is the result. What you see here is that I have trimmed it up there, all the new shoots, but I left these shoots on. Why would I do this? Why am I so lazy not to cut this off? Well, yes, I'm a lazy person, but that's not the reason for leaving them on. The reason is that the lower branches usually are the weaker ones. Why is that? Because of something that's called apical dominance, and that is the mechanism that makes the tree always grow strong on top and not so strong below. This is why a tree becomes a tree and not a bush. Okay, so apical dominance is fine, but you have to work against it. So these will always grow and always get thick and thicker, and at one point up, these branches would be thicker than the ones below. It should be the other way around. So what you do, you let him grow very early, cut off the top, and then 3 or 4 weeks later the middle, and the lower ones you just leave. You see, there's not so many, but at least these, and they will thicken these branches. And that looks a bit silly. Well, I'd have to do this probably for about 10 years or so, and then the tree will look very good. As you see, I do tree bonsai for a long time. I do it bonsai for 10, 20 years ahead. You may say, Walter, yeah, but at your age, well, you do it for the next generation. You do it for the joy. I want to sit here, admire this tree because it's my tree, it's my baby, it's my child. Okay, and I know I'm doing something good to my child so that in the future it will be even better. And whether I'm around at that time, that doesn't matter too much. Okay, that's how I do bonsai. And this is why you don't see this guy wiring or many tricks that I do of this here in bonsai nurseries. Now, why is that? It's very simple. There, it's not about joy, that's about selling something to make money. And they have to look good all the time, tidy. And this is why also all these Japanese trees are so very well groomed, because they want to sell them. This is not for sale, no way. So does not matter for money, so I do something for his future. And so I think I have the great luck of being able to afford this, just standing there doing nothing, just letting them grow. And leave him and make him better in the long run. For whoever, I don't know, we will see. But anyway, this is how I think bonsai basically should be done by regular people. The problem is that we are being taught a lot of things which are true in a nursery, in a commercial nursery environment. Like doing exact wiring, doing this, everything looks neat and so, and then one single front. And then people do bonsai. What do? Do they sell the tree or something? No, they put it in the garden somewhere, walk around. So there's no single front there. They can see it from many sides, and it looks good from up above, from below. So and whether the wiring is very correct, that is not so important. I'm not saying you should do untidy wiring. I'm saying it's not as important as they say. It's only important in a commercial environment. Okay, but this is not a commercial environment. This is the garden of an amateur, of a dilettante. as they say. You know what dilettante? The word comes from dilettare, that's Italian, that means to enjoy. A person who really enjoys art. Somebody who is not doing painting for money, who paints for joy. That's a dilettante. And then I say, oh, there's dilettante. So it became a derogative word. But in the original sense of the word, I'm a proud dilettante.
As I look around the garden and see the different deciduous trees, some have very round crowns, some are a little more pointed, and some have more irregular forms. How do you determine when looking at a tree what the best shape is to complement the rest of the composition?
That's a good question. This I teach in beginners classes. Look at what you have. You brought something with you. You have something in your garden or here in your hands, and you ask me what to do. Somebody will tell you, that's not me. That tree will tell you. So you look at it and say, what do you have talent for? Do you have talent for to be a formal tree? Do you have the branches at the right points? No. Do you have good nebari? No. Well, then don't try formal. Yeah, that will look silly. So an informal sort of, yeah, okay. Do you maybe have two trunks? Maybe a twin trunk? Do you maybe look like almost like a zelkova? Well, do the broom form. The broom form is forbidden. Well, the tree wants it. Okay, the tree will tell you what he wants or she wants to be, and you have to just look at the tree and listen to him, and then just do it to help him. This is how I teach how to go about trees. And don't think, please don't think, oh, this is allowed, this is not allowed, and what will my club people say? Forget that. They will hate it if it's not the regular tree. Don't show it. Don't show it on the internet. Do it for the tree and for yourself, and maybe in the long run, the tree shows what you said, if you're lucky. In my garden it happens, but I did a lot of mistakes in the beginning. You have to make your own mistakes in the beginning. Don't try to copy a formal style, as you call it. I call it form, that you have seen before, because then all your trees will look alike. In a derogative manner, we call them cookie cutter bonsai. People learn one way of styling a tree, and then they style 20 trees, and the whole collection looks just like the same sort of form, but with different trees. Now, that's not very good. So I like it if you do for every tree what the tree wants, and then you will end up having different looking trees.
Now, I notice in your garden you have a fair number of Japanese maples. Do you have a particular relationship with maples?
Yes, I have a particular relationship with them. I just love them. You don't ask me why. It's just that I love them because they're very, very nice trees. I think they're very female trees, and they look very good at all parts of the year, different. So they're an interesting tree, and the charming tree. And they are a very forgiving tree insofar as if there's some thing that's not so right in the crown with foliage, you don't see that. Okay, they have this wonderful fall foliage, and they warm my heart. But I ended up having quite a few really good maples, somehow looking similar because of this. Where they come from. They come from basically huge bonsai factories where they all start to look similar for good reasons. But then I try to do something different, and this is one good example. I have enough good fat trees, but I don't have one fat maple that just doesn't look like the regular maple. And this is why I have this tree.
Thank you.